Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are here on this beautiful earth. I was just in the process of shuffling one of my favorite decks to pull a card collectively for us. Sometimes I feel that's on my heart to do, sometimes I don't. Today I do. But today I'm going to pull a card and it says, ooh, interesting. You can see it. The thoughts I think today are pre-paving my future. Very interesting. It says every thought that you think that is directed towards what you want for your future is of great benefit to you. Every thought that you are thinking about your future that you do not want is a disadvantage to you. Whether thinking of vitality and health or decline and disease, you are pre-paving your future. Wow, that's a pretty heavy card, but one that I thoroughly understand. 2 years ago, I would not have understood what that meant at all. Thank you again for joining me. My name is Julie Townsend. I am the founder, CEO of Quantum Connections Incorporated. It's my mission to uplift, inspire, and create the ultimate awareness of truth to help others find purpose by following their innate gift called intuition, something we all have. And understanding our higher faculties and tapping into our potential actually allows us to manifest and live life on a much higher level. So welcome. Today, we're going to talk about, I'm going to put my phone on airplane. Give me 1 second here. It's just going boobity, boobity, boobity. Distracting. Today, we're going to talk about surrendering the how. And what exactly does that really mean? So, first of all, let's get an understanding of the word surrender. It's not a word that everybody likes, right? The verb means to cease resistance to an enemy or opponent and submit to their authority. So it's human nature to dislike the word submissive. We like to be in control. We like to call our own shots. And being submissive, especially for men, is like out of the question. So don't get me wrong. Sometimes it's necessary to be in control and calling the shots. But when referring to times when we need to make big decisions, so men or women, it's more effective to surrender to a higher power, source, energy, vibration, whatever you want to call it, universe. The reason being is primarily because decision making usually requires a certain amount of belief or faith. In order to be successful by believing or having faith, one needs to surrender. So looking back to the definition we just said of surrender, it says to cease resistance to an enemy or opponent. The truth of the matter is that enemy or opponent, not necessarily enemy, although we can say that, it's usually ourselves. So let's relate this to goals and dreams that we may have, okay? When we get excited about a goal and then we add emotion to an idea that comes to our mind, it's common that we soon worry or doubt ourselves, and then we're starting to ask ourselves, well, how am I going to do that? How? So like, how will I afford that new house? How do I start my business? How am I even going to have the time? Like, how will I get customers? And all of a sudden you start going down the rabbit hole of getting all these things and the how. And once you ask yourself one how question, your mind seems to continue on down that path and it gets heavier and heavier, right? So getting hung up on the how is a killjoy. And I'm sure we've all experienced it. Your thoughts include enough hows until you likely talk yourself out of it. And then you realize, no, that was a dumb idea. But it wasn't. That idea wouldn't have come to you if it was a dumb idea. ideas generally come from like spiritual source. We're spiritual beings in a physical body. Anyway, we've had many ideas that we just kind of write off because we get caught up in the hows, and then we find ourselves just kind of ditching that idea. Does that feel familiar? Can you think of something like in your past that you've kind of entertained as an idea and you kind of got a little excited about it, but then a little bit of fear or worry or doubt creeped in and you found your own thoughts attacking it until the idea was dead? It's common. It's common. But what if we had the knowledge or tools to override that thought process and a better understanding of ourselves, like a Control-Delete? When those ideas come in that are fear and doubt and worry, we just go, I know where that is. And then you know how to think. So create a new way of speaking to ourselves, maybe. And instead of just asking how, ask how can I? Instead of asking why not? Like, get into a different way of speaking to yourself. So to understand this, I've drawn a picture, and it was a real quick picture, so I'm going to have to explain it to you as best as I can, of something called the Stickman. Some of you have seen it and know it. The Stickman depicts how our mind functions. This drawing was done in 1934 by Dr. Thurman Fleet. And Bob Proctor, my mentor, uses it all the time because our mind thinks in pictures. And if you don't have it drawing to understand your mind, it's almost impossible to figure it out because mind is everywhere. Mind is energy. Mind is everywhere. So when you put it into a picture, you have a better understanding. So bear with me, because like I said, this was really put together quickly. All right, so I know that it's in the camera. All right, this little dude is your actual stick person. Let me see if I can do this, because I didn't practice this before I decided to do this. There. The stick person depicts, this is your mind, and this is your body, okay? We have energy, all of us have energy that comes to us and through us all the time. That's what brings us ideas and just energy. And that's what moves our body, positive or negative. It's what goes and flows through you, me, everything and everybody. Nothing rests. Everything is always in a constant state of vibration. That energy comes into our conscious mind. These little floaties are ideas. First of all, these little antennas are on the outside of our conscious mind. They're called your five senses. Your see, hear, smell, taste, and touch. They're like your filters. When you live from your five senses, you're actually living from the outside in, and you are in reaction mode. You are reacting to what you smell, you hear, you taste, you touch. You are not responding from inside. Your inside are called higher faculties. Intuition is one of them. You're not listening to that gut feeling inside. It's another lesson. In your subconscious mind, when you have ideas come in, they're either positive or negative. When you take, say, we'll just say negative because a lot of people thrive on negative emotions. You take a negative idea, path of least resistance, and you start thinking of it, and then you allow it to go into your subconscious mind. If you take a negative and you allow it to build up vibration in your subconscious mind, it's a negative vibration. Regardless if it's negative or positive, it flows through the body and out into the universe. So if you're in a bad vibe and crap's hitting the fan all day long, that's why. You're pushing energy out that's not so great, and it's coming right back at you. It's like you wake up in the morning, you stub your toe on the bed, and things just go south from there. That's why. You have to gain control. Opposite is true too. If you find yourself some positive ideas and you allow that emotion to go into your subconscious mind, you set yourself up into a positive vibration. That same vibration of energy goes through your body, out into the world, and positive out, positive comes back. So you're catching the drift that I'm trying to to explain here. And this is a real crash course on the stick man. The laws of the universe say to each and everything there is an opposite. So, same applies here. Energy that comes to and through you, me, and everybody just is. It's just energy. It's what you make it. So the energy that comes to you, if you choose it to be negative, and you just don't, whatever, and you want it to be negative, then tells me that you have a lot of worry and doubt in you. And if you hang on to that worry and doubt and continue down the negative path, you build up fear. You build up a lot of fear over things. And we know that fear is an acronym for false evidence appearing real. So with fear, if you hang on to it long enough, it builds up into anxiety. And anxiety isn't something that we tell the world about. It's something we suppress within us. And if we suppress it long enough, it becomes depressed. And depression, hung on to long enough, becomes dis-ease. It makes our spirit at dis-ease or disease. The polar opposite, of course, to negative is positive. So with positive, to acquire positive ideas that flow through your body and out to the universe, you have knowledge, you study, you understand. Okay? Understanding is the opposite to worry and doubt. When you understand, you actually have a lot of faith. You don't really know how things are going to happen, but you have the faith that they're going to happen. You just know it. You built that up in you. With the faith, you have a well-being. When you're filled with faith, you are actually a happy, well-rounded person. You're just happy. You have a lot of faith. There's a lot of joy in your life. Well-being is then expressed. You ever know a happy person and they try and suppress your happiness, right? It's just, you can't. So the opposite of anxiety is well-being. The opposite of suppressed is expressed. We express our happiness and our joy. With that is acceleration, not depression. You pick up speed. When you're happy, things start flowing. It's in momentum, right? And then, of course, action, and you're at ease. Instead of dis-ease, you are at ease. You're happy, and things are flowing, and you are aligned. I always like to use the word aligned. That is a crash course on the stickman. Okay. So, now having a better understanding of our mind, okay, and how things work. That is just the way things work. I've been studying it for 2 years now, and the more I study it, the more it makes sense. Incredible. So, with a better understanding, which is the positive side of our mind, it makes sense that as soon as we apply a negative emotion to our idea, it sets up that like vibration, and it has to flow through the body. So questioning ourselves generally sets up a negative vibration. In order to grow, we must create positive vibration. Growth doesn't happen in a negative environment. And if it does, you're just growing more negative. So think of a little kid. Okay, I think of my grandson. He plays basketball. He'll be 7 in the end of September. But since he was 3, he would try numerous times to get a basket. He could hardly throw the ball high enough to even touch the basket on its lowest level, but he never thought for a second as to how he would make a basket. He only knew to do it over and over again. So now he's close to 7, and he can beat any of us adults most days playing a game of 21. I'm not kidding you. You watch any kid on a bike or a skateboard or a scooter, they only want to be like their heroes or the people they watch that do it really well. They don't give it a second thought of how. They just know that it can be done. And they have the tenacity and the persistence to keep trying and figuring it out. The how seems to come to them the more they practice. They realize how, because they're just more focused on the goal. So for adults, we look at our mentors or highly successful people, and we know it can be done, but immediately get hung up on the how. Then we rectify our position or inability to do the same with a bunch of excuses, right? The truth is that we're no different. And you can do or have what any of your heroes have accomplished. Many people have become very successful because they have simply surrendered the how. They've simply handed it over, hand over the tough part of the doing to a higher source. And all they're doing is simply focusing on the goal that they're trying to accomplish. The how doesn't matter. If you're laser focused on the goal, it doesn't matter. The energy will flow to and through you with ease and grace so long as you take actionable steps, big or small, towards your goal. And as soon as you stall and then focus on the how, it's like putting big rocks in a stream that's flowing so perfectly. And you put big rocks in there, all of a sudden that stream slows down and it takes longer to flow. I hope this is all making sense to you. Some people don't even have a goal. They don't. In fact, the majority of people don't. They just live day to day, same stuff, different day. No desire to become more or do better or be better because they don't know how. And they don't even want to think of the how, so therefore they don't even think of the goal. They get scared before they even start. Whenever they have had a slight thought of maybe doing something greater than themselves, it just seems gigantic and they just shut down. So I'm here to tell you that you should have a goal. You should absolutely positively have a goal. I don't care what you do, you need to have a goal. You need to have something you're aiming at. You should have a personal goal and you should have a professional goal. You should write out a list of things that you want. And anything that comes to your mind, as crazy as it might be, anything that you just feel that you want, a big shopping list. And then you should pick out one or two of those things and make it a priority and be your goal. Go for it. There's a system to manifesting. That's a different lesson. For now, don't worry about the how. It can be accomplished. That doesn't matter. Once you make a decision, write it down, write it into a goal, then the how will begin at once to figure itself out. You don't have to worry about the how. You just need to surrender. Let it go. Faith over fear will accomplish any goal, any day, with persistence and desire. I like what my mentor Bob Proctor says, and he said, faith and fear both demand that you believe in something you cannot see. It's your choice. What do I got here? I'm at 20 minutes, which is perfect. I didn't know if I was going to have the option. I read just this morning in my little favorite book here called U Squared. There's something in here called Focus on Ends Rather Than Means, but I won't read it to you, even though it's 2 pages, because it'll take us considerably over. But let me just see. It just basically talks about jumping, right? If you're going to take a big leap, a big jump, a quantum leap, the very last paragraph says, look at it this way. You're not supposed to be concerned about what happens in the middle of the jump. You're supposed to be thinking about where you're going to land. That's it for this Tuesday Live. I hope that you got some value out of this lesson, that maybe it just changed your perspective on things. Maybe you're going to jot down some things that you want, change them into some goals, and just start going for it. If you're not going forward, you're going backward. So start going forward and start using your intuition, your gut feeling. Spend some time just with yourself and just listening to what's going on inside and follow that. Till next time, next week, we're going to talk about magnetic energy. Another great topic. We will talk to you later. Bye.